A very warm welcome to Ghalib Demystified episode 2. I got an interesting ghazal for you. Kahte ho na denge hum, dil agar pada paaya. There are 7 couplets in this ghazal. Yes, it's about the lost heart, and as you know, heart or dil is about love, and it is a big deal in Urdu poetry. We can say that if there is one organ of the lover's body that's most problematic, it is heart. Whether it's Persian poetry or Urdu poetry, heart always sneaks into the verse and finds a place for good or bad. Philosophers make it a point to say that mind and heart are two very different things. Mind is logical, analytical, factual, and reality based, while the heart is the source of love. It is compassionate, poetical, lyrical, and a gateway to our imagination. But in Urdu poetry, it seems that these two things merge in the sense that the heart also has a mind of its own. The heart may belong to the lover, but he does not control it. The heart goes on expeditions on its own without the owner's permission, chasing the beloved in all kind of places. The first couplet says it all. कहते हो न देंगे हम दिल अगर पड़ा पाया. कहते हो न देंगे हम दिल अगर पड़ा पाया. दिल कहाँ के गुम कीजिए हमने मुद्दा पाया. The beloved tells the lover that she would not return his heart if she found it lying somewhere on the wayside. On the surface, this means she doesn't care for the lover's heart. This may not be true. This may not be true because she has a love-hate relationship with the lover's heart. She wants to own it, but does not wish to acknowledge that she owns it. What she says doesn't mean much. She already has the heart in her possession. The heart is not lost. She doesn't want to lose it. She wants to keep it. The talk of something lost is therefore irrelevant. The heart found the place where it wants to be. This way, हमने मुद्दा पाया means that the lover's purpose was indirectly fulfilled. He wanted the heart to be in beloved's possession, and that is where it has found a place. Here is my English rendering. You won't return my heart if it fell by the wayside and you found it. My heart was destined to find its home in your everlasting embrace. Now let us look at the second couplet. इश्क से तबीयत ने ज़ीस्त का मज़ा पाया. इश्क से तबीयत ने ज़ीस्त का मज़ा पाया. दर्द की दवा पाई, दर्द बेदवा पाया. As you may have noticed, there is a big contradiction here. The poet expresses his gratitude that he fell in love. Because he fell in love, he got a taste of life. A life that was not worth living became a source of pleasure. Why? Because love is highly transforming. When we fall in love, we become a different human being. Everything looks different. Everything tastes different. Before love came, life was dull and drab. Love changed everything. The lover got the best what the life had to offer. But there is a catch here, a real problem. Love cured one kind of suffering, which we call existential suffering, which is caused by daily routines of life. But love brought with it a new kind of suffering, a new kind of agony. It is the agony of separation from the beloved for which there is no cure. Because what I desire as a lover is unattainable, my life is much worse than before. This is the contradiction. The remedy for one thing became the source of another kind of pain. This is how I translated the couplet. Love made it possible for me to enjoy life, and it cured my suffering. But what to do now with the agony of love for which there is no cure? When love came into my life, it brightened everything. But since there was separation from the beloved, a lot of pain arose for which there was no remedy. Love was therefore a mixed blessing. The third couplet. दोस्त दारे दुश्मन है इत्मादे दिल मालूम, दोस्त दारे दुश्मन है इत्मादे दिल मालूम, आह बे असर देखी नाला नार सा पाया. दोस्त दारे दुश्मन है means that someone that you thought was your friend has joined hands with the enemy. It's a difficult position when your heart has become a friend of someone who is against your well-being. Therefore, heart can't be trusted anymore. The enemy in this case is the beloved. Why? Because she inflicts pain. The lover, of course, was charmed. She used her magical powers of grace and beauty. And look at the lover's heart, how quickly it joined the ranks of the beloved. What a sad situation when one of your own becomes your enemy. It is a betrayal, but you can't do anything about it. Your sighs have become ineffective and your prayers are not being heard. She charmed my heart and my heart betrayed me readily. What a betrayal. My sighs were ineffective and my prayers were not answered. Before we go to the fourth couplet, let me say that my book, The Treasure, contains Mirza's entire Urdu Diwan with English translation of 235 ghazals in free verse. It's a helpful guide volume for this program as we make progress in this delightful literary journey. Now let us look at the fourth couplet. सादगी ओ पुरकारी बेखुदी ओ होशियारी, सादगी ओ पुरकारी बेखुदी ओ होशियारी, हुस्न को तगाफुल में जुर्रत आजमा पाया. First, there are several uncommon words in this couplet that need an explanation. Sadgi or purkari, these two are opposites. Sadgi is simplicity while purkari is deception. How can you be simple and deceptive at the same time? This is what the beloved is. Bekhudi is forgetfulness or the ability to lose oneself momentarily, but Hoshiari is cunningness. This is another opposite. Toghafil is being unaware or indifferent, and lastly, Jurrat Azma is being daring. If the beloved is problematic, the reason is that she possesses attributes that are polar opposites, pure contradictions. How can you deal with such a person? She is simple but deceptive. She is forgetful but cunning. And even in her unawareness, she is daring. This couplet is Mirza's unique creation because nowhere else in Urdu poetry we find such dialectical description of the beloved's attributes. Sardar Jafri used to quote this couplet because it described in one place all the positive and negative qualities of beauty. In my English translation, I added a qualifier at the end in the sense that maybe this is all a play, or this is the way the beloved sets up a snare or a trap to attract the lover. Simplicity and sophistry, obliviousness and cunningness. She was daring in her amnesia. Was she setting up a snare? The fifth couplet. गुंचा फिर लगा खिलने आज हमने अपना दिल, गुंचा फिर लगा खिलने आज हमने अपना दिल, खूं किया हुआ देखा गुम किया हुआ पाया. Comparing one's heart to a bud or a flower is a very common simile. But Mirza sees the connection here between the two in a different way, that is through their color. Heart is red because it pumps blood, which is red. The rose is red, but to the eyes of the lover, it is blood red. The poet sees the color of his heart in the center of the rose petals. This is a double blow because not only the heart is lost, but it is also badly wounded and it is bleeding. Yet the poet is happy to see his heart. At least it is there somewhere, though not in a very good condition. Birds began to blossom again, and I found my heart with traces of deep wounds. Never mind the wounds and bleeding, glad something lost was regained. Sixth couplet. हाले दिल नहीं मालूम लेकिन इस कदर यानी, हाले दिल नहीं मालूम लेकिन इस कदर यानी, हमने बारहा ढूंढा तुमने बारहा पाया. This is one of the simple couplets to talk about. The underlying thought is clear and simple. The heart is a very clever device. It doesn't care about the owner. It is in love with the beloved. The lover goes on searching but never finds it. For the beloved, no effort is needed because the heart is always present at her beck and call. Now we come to the makta. शोरे पंदे नासे ने जख्म पर नमक छिड़का, शोरे पंदे नासे ने जख्म पर नमक छिड़का, आपसे कोई पूछे तुमने क्या मजा पाया. In this couplet, Mirza changes gears. He shifts attention from the beloved, whom he loves passionately, to someone he hates with equal vigor. Nase is the most despicable character in Urdu poetry. He is loud in his discourse and admonishes people to not fall in love or not touch a cup of wine or do other things that make life pleasurable. When he says don't fall in love, his speech is like rubbing salt on the lover's wounds. One should always talk about things that one has experienced. Nase has never fallen in love. What does he know about the delights and sufferings of falling in love? He is just trying to impose his religious worldview, which is also wrong because religion doesn't say anything against love. God, in fact, is another word for love. The prayer is an act of love. Nase is therefore an ignorant fool who is going around making noise and saying things for which he has no personal experience. What pleasure does he get in doing all this? One should ask him. The preacher poured salt on my wounds with these admonitions. Someone should ask him, what pleasure did you get by doing this? Okay, this brings us to the end of the second episode. But we shall continue this creative journey, and the next time we shall talk about Dil Mera Soze Nihan Se Be Mohaba Jal Gaya. There's a lot of fire in that ghazal. I can't wait to talk about that. Ghalib is a fascinating poet who never fails to touch the deepest chords of her being. Stay well, stay happy. I'm Surinder Deol saying goodbye.